Dear friends, welcome to my video. In this video, I'll show you how to make your personal voice assistant Android app. So let's begin. We'll make a very simple layout and probably I'll name it as my personal voice assistant. So I will just try to show you a basic concept which you can use. I won't get into the details of the complete voice assistance, but I'll try to show you an infrastructure template which you can use to develop your own voice assistant app. So to start with, first I'll probably make some settings in manifest file. So in this app, what I will cover is that I will have a voice interaction with a user through this app, and if the user says create, it will create a new file. So for that, I need certain permission from user. The permissions like read external storage and write external storage. So I'll keep one, or I'll show only one use case in this particular app, like creating or opening of a file. But you can of course extend it to other features as well. So these are the few declaration or permissions which we need from the user. The permission to write or read external storage and record audio. Record audio is important because the inputs taken by the app will be using your voice. So that's why record audio becomes very important. Now in terms of layout, I think I'll keep it simple and straightforward. This text most probably I'll keep it because although you don't need it in a real text view in a real app, but here I'm keeping it because whatever you speak probably it can get printed also on this text view, so you know what you have printed. And probably one button I'll put to a start. You can you don't need this button as well because you can start or initiate your process in the on create method, but I would like to have a manual control over here, so that's why I'm putting this on button to a start. So I'll just put start text here, and think more or less I think we are done here in the layout. Yeah, one more thing, probably I'll just quickly define a public method, start button. So what it will do is this method will be called whenever this button is clicked on in the on yeah, this button. So I'll set this in the on click attribute of this button. Yeah. So more or less layout is done. I have kept it simple. I just want to spend more time on Java and want to keep this video also short. So in this app, we will need a few variables. So basically, there will be two ways interaction through this app in voice command. So we will need one something called speech recognition. This is nothing but it will recognize your speech and give the input to the app. The other thing we will need is text to speech. So this is the speech which will be spoken by your app to the user so that he understands what or he gets the message what is required by the app. Other thing probably I'll need is a text view, because to get the handle to the text view widget which we have inserted in our layout. And last probably we'll need one intent. So this intent will be intent, we can just keep it intent. Yeah. So first thing I'll do in the onCreate method is probably first thing I should do is get the permission. So request permission. So we have defined three permissions in our manifest file. We should request permission for all the three over here in our Java code. So the context will be this, of course, and then new string, and then the first permission was to read, so manifest dot permission dot record audio. Okay, that's fine. Second permission was permission dot write external, and the third one is manifest dot permission dot read external. Yes, and then last will be package manager dot permission granted. Yeah, we can make it short. This line has become very long, so what we can do is we can just press alt enter and then you add a static import for all these three. So the moment you add it, what will happen is static import will get added in the top. So this line came up because of we changed this read external. Similarly we'll do for write external, and similarly we'll do for record audio. Perfect. So once we have taken the permission from the user, the second line will be probably to associate this text view, what we have a local variable, to the find view by id r.id.text view, the text view which is defined in our layout. So these two are like a kind of initialization or setup steps is what I consider. So once done this, now we can start with our logic. So first and foremost is we can define our speech recognizer. So rather than first doing for speech recognizer, let me do for text to speech. So this is pretty simple. So you have to just define a new text to speech, and then probably what we can do is we can have this and on init listener. That's it. So this will ensure that your text to speech listener has been initialized by the default on init method. Yeah. Now once we have done this text to speech, this is something which your app will speak to the user. So second part is speech recognition. So before we go for speech recognition, first we'll have to define our intent. So intent will be nothing but new intent, and in this we can probably have an action of like intent recognize intent dot action recognize speech. Yeah, so our intent is to recognize speech. What else we can put is probably we can put an extra, and we can again put this recognize intent dot extra language model underscore language model comma free form. Yeah. So there are lots of other settings also you can do over here. I have discussed this in length in some of my other videos. Probably I'll post the links in my description below. So once you have intent defined, now we can initialize our speech recognizer. So this should be speech recognizer dot create speech recognizer. I think this one will be one which we need, and the context will be of course the present class. And once we have it, then we can probably set the listener for this, and the moment we define the listener, what we have to give it as an input is a kind of listener. So we can have a new listener here, and the moment you initialize or define this listener, there will be lots of methods which will come up. So we don't need all the methods. Probably what will, of course you can explore all the options, but to keep it short and simple in this video, we'll just use I think our on results method. So yeah, we won't use all the others. I'm just deleting the blank lines because to make it short and simple. So that's all. So we'll come back to this on results methods later. So first let's start in our start button. This is a start button. First thing what we can do is we can create something like text to speech, which will message given from your app, and here you can put it in the text form, and that will be spoken out by your app. So say for example we say please tell me how can I help you. You can type any message based on the requirement of your app, so that doesn't matter. So once you have it, and probably semicolon is missing here. Of course we have to give other parameters, text to speech q plus, and then other things we can put null. Yeah. So whenever this button is pressed, the first thing your app will say is that it will speak out the line whatever you have written here. I'm hard coding it, but based on your requirement you can use this string. And once whatever is spoken, then probably we have to give some time for our app to speak this out. So we'll go for in sleep mode, and it's in a millisecond. So let's assume it takes around 3 seconds for it to speak out this one. So we'll give a break of around 3000 milliseconds. There's some warning here, so it expects us to catch the exception. So I'll insert a try catch. You can just use the automated hints from Android Studio. And once you have done it, then what we can do is we can start our listener. So this is the start. So we can just put a start listening, and then intent we have anyway defined our intent recognizer, so we can just give it intent. So that's it. So whenever you press this button, it will read out this line and it will start the listening. You can give a break based on the the time it will take to read this line. You can just do some kind of approximation. And once the listening is done, then it will give the results in on results. So now we will complete our on results method here. So in this, we will have an array list string. So we make it more than one string. That's why we have to catch it in an array. And probably we can just define matches, which will have. So results, the local variable here, whatever we get results, and then we can extract the string array list from this. So get a string array list, and the key will be speech recognizer. Just recognition. Yeah, that's it. So we will get a list of strings written in this local variable matches here, and now we have to check whether or we have to fetch or acquire the correct strings from this. So first we can have another local variable called string, and that we can assign probably like this, and then we can check, or we can even set our text view here as to start, so that it gets reset and you are able to see in your layout that what is the text appearing here. Probably I will run this in parallel, this app, so that we can see the layout in emulator as well. And okay, so let it do some. So here in the meantime I'll check whether my matches is equal to or not equal to null. Yeah, so if this is not null, that means we have got some values into it, and then what we can do is we can fetch the first index, the first value from this. So we can use get, and the index will be of 0 for the first value. And once we have it, then we can set this in our text view, so that user can see what the app has acquired, and the input over here will be string. And once we have it, then now over here we can insert our logic. So this is where your actual logic goes. Say for example you are trying to see if it equals some keyword. Say for example it equals create, and if this is equal, then you can call a particular method or do certain things. Similarly, you can have I am keeping short here, but I will say that here you can put a kind of switch case algorithm where you, based on the strings captured, you can call the respective method over there. And you can also, like here I am doing a hardcore check of equals, but you can use some kind of regular expression to check for phrases which a human being can speak, the different kind of phrases over here. Okay. So before I call them some method, I will have to first define that method, of course. So I can define that method at the end. That method will be private. I don't need to make it public, and so I can just name it create method. So what we'll do in this method is, whenever a person says create, it will create a particular file of his requirement. So create method is being called, and nothing else. Other things we can implement directly now in create method. So over here, of course, you can have a more of an interaction with the user. That okay, whenever create is called, so second line you can reinitiate this particular process and ask the user that whether what will be the file name of that of that file what he wants to create. But I'll keep it simple. I'll just directly jump to the create method and do most of the hard coding here. I'll hard code the text here, but you can make it much more flexible as per your requirement. So we'll create a new file here. So we'll just give, I think there is some alt enter so that we can define. So whenever this create method person says create, it comes to create method, and in this we will create a file. So first let's have a new file. Okay, no, I don't need this environment dot get external storage directory, plus probably what I can do is file separator dot separator, and then we can give a file name whatever we want to create. So say for example personal assistant system .txt. So whatever file, you can even create as a, for example, a PDF file or some other types of file, or you can even if you want, you can browse your a particular website and do whatever stuff you want to do in this method. It's you are all free once your app brings you here. Now we will check whether this file exists or not. So whether file dot exists. If it doesn't exist, then create this file. Then of course we'll do is file dot create new file, and yeah. And if you are seeing, then there is some warning here. So if I hover over it, it's asking me to surround it by try catch. So I think the better option will be I surround the complete thing by try catch, because I will anyway do lots of other stuff. So catch exception e, so e dot print stack trace, yes. And probably if there's any error, I'll just like to return as well. I don't want it to proceed with a buggy code in this particular app. Yeah. Okay, so we have taken care of the creation of new file. So now next step will be to write to a file, because whatever we want. So we'll just create something like file writer new file writer, and then the input will be the file which we just created above. And then in this file writer we can append whatever text we want here. So again, this text also you can take as an input from the user. You can call a listener again here and ask the person to speak out, and so that you can get the input. But over here, for simplicity, I'll just do a hard coding. My first personal voice assistant development. Perfect. So once we have it, we can just do is flush out if there is something remaining, and then I think the last will be to close it. Yes, I think more or less this is it. And now what we can do is at the end, probably to make it a bit more fancy, we can just make it speak our yeah or the text file has been created. Thank you for using my service. So now next will be of course the same thing. We can just queue the plus null null. So again, this kind of text you can hardcode, or you can create a separate XML file from where you fetch all the time whatever or some kind of database, and where you insert some kind of artificial intelligence logic as well. But of course, in this tutorial, I will not cover the implementation of artificial intelligence. But I just wanted to show you the platform or the infrastructure, how you can at least use it. So that's all. I think our app is already running in the emulator. So if I go to my emulator, it's asking for certain permissions. One is the record audio and access this. So yeah, so this is the look of the emulator. Of course, it won't work because the mic sometimes doesn't work with the emulator.
Please tell me, how can I help you?
Please tell me, how can I help you?
Perfect. So this is from here we are getting it. Please tell me, how can I help you? But it's not able to capture anything because the mic doesn't work as far as I know. I'll try once doing the setting of microphone here, but sometimes in certain pieces it doesn't work. So mostly I test all these apps.
Please tell me, how can I help you?
Please tell me, how can I help you?
Okay, so I'll do one thing. Now I'll pause this video and try to install it on my real phone, and so that I can test it over there, and then I'll unpause when I'm testing it. So let me pause it for a time being. Just a quick note here. So to transfer it, what I will do is I'll build an APK file out of it just by clicking on this button. In few seconds, I should get an APK file, and then I'll transfer it to my phone. Yeah. So after building, I got this APK built. So once I click on this locate, my APK file is here. So I have to just transfer it to my real phone. I can transfer it over some data cable or via Bluetooth or via some net or WhatsApp or something like that. So I'm doing that. So I'll pause this video. Yeah, so I have installed the app on my real phone. Now I'm going to start the testing. So I just opened the phone. Probably you can't see, but you'll be able to hear the voice. And I'll put all the test cases, screenshots, and testing videos on my website programmable.co. I'll post a link in my description so you can have it from there. So I just started the app for the first time, and let's see what it says.
Please tell me, how can I help you?
Create.
The text file has been created. Thank you for using my service.
Perfect. So if you notice, so it very nicely said, how can I help you? And when I said create, and of course I was able to see my input of my audio in this text box or text view over here. So when I said create, it went here, it checked with this particular part, and then it went to this method here, and then it created the file, and I can see even the file has been created in my phone. Perfect. So I'll put the screenshots and the test video separately on my website. So please refer to it. So that's all I wanted to show in this video. So I'll just quickly summarize the steps. So steps are very simple. So you don't have to invest too much of time on the layout. Why I created this button or this text view is just for the kind of like user interface. But if you have a more sophisticated app, you don't need all this interface. You can just quickly trigger this from the backend of any of the other methods, or you can even do it using your own create. So whatever we are doing it in this start button, you can push send this code in this on create and it will do. Anyway, so once done this, so what we are doing over here is we are using two things here. One is text to speech and one is the speech recognizer. So text to speech is the speech or the voice which your phone will speak to you. You can hard code the text whatever you want them to speak, or you can create some kind of database based on the artificial intelligence methodology, and then it will pull out these strings in the runtime what they want to interact with the user, and based on the user input you can again have some kind of logic or algorithm implemented here. I have shown just one if else statement, but you can have a series of switch case statement which reads out user input, and also don't do equals, do some kind of regular expression here, because a human will never speak a particular word. He will speak, say for example, a sentence. Say for example he speaks, please create me a file. So you should understand in your logic here. So that's a separate part of the logic. That comes more from the artificial intelligence point of view. And once you have all those things implemented, then you can use this infrastructure to do the certain or activities. Of course, if you are trying to cover all the topics, then you have to have a much more complex code here. But here we just wanted to show how you can very quickly create a text file in this your device with whatever message you can have it here. Again, these inputs also you can take it as a voice input from the user, like what is the file name, or what is the data, or what is the text he wants to print into this. But otherwise, more or less is fine. So I hope this video really helps you to understand that it's pretty simple. You just need two-way communication with your user. One is text to speech, and other is speech recognizer is what you want in your code. It's pretty straightforward, and yeah, and you can do it in a very simple way. So all these artifacts and all this code whatever I've shown will be available in my portal programmable.co. Please visit it. I'll post the link in my description folder below. And I hope this video is useful to you. Please if you have any questions or suggestions, please put it in the comment section. And if you like this video, then please subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and have